Okay, it's time for the 5th episode. I'm kind of pumped up right now. Just got through watching The Walking Dead. Uh, you're my grandkids and you're watching this. Some of you are like really, really young, or I'm not young, but how can I say it? Uh, I'm probably dead. You're alive, and this show happened like way, way long time ago to you. But it's a really cool show. It's called The Walking Dead. Just saw the episode where two of the main characters, Rick and Michonne, I think, they fell in love, and everybody's all happy about it. But anyway, it's a cool show. You have to watch it. I'm not much of a zombie fan, by the way. I like monster movies, but not much of a zombie fan. But this TV show is really good, not because of the zombies, but because of the stories. It got really good stories. Anyway, I want to talk now about me when I was a kid. I said earlier that we grew up in a really poor neighborhood, and I'll go into details of how poor we were later on. But for now, I just want to talk about some of the things we did when we were kids. Because stuff we did when I was a kid, you don't hardly see it anymore. You just don't see it anymore. We had like seasons for like marbles, where everybody would play marbles. We had a season for tops, and everybody would play tops. And we had a season for like baseball cards, where we would gamble with baseball cards. What you do is you grab a baseball card, right? I got one, you got one, and you hold it like this, and you throw it and flip it, let it hit the ground, and the other guy throws it and flips it, and one or the other will call odd or even. So like they're both face up, and you say even, you keep the cards, you know? And if they're one up and one down, then the other guy gets it. So we used to gamble that way. And to be honest with you, it was a huge, huge gamble when I was a kid, because we didn't have a lot of money, and those cards were worth a lot to me, you know, and to all the other little kids. So that when we used to do it, it was like the first thing you would do, right? If you would say, "Are you going to play for keepies?" In other words, if you lose it, you lose it. But that's one of the things we did besides the top, the marbles, and the other stuff, and some other stuff. But I don't want to talk about those because I got stories about those and some of the stuff that happened when we were doing those. I want to talk about something a little bit different. Where I lived at, and next video I'll show you a picture where we lived at, or a video of where I used to live at. But for now, just this place is pretty beat up, pretty bad, bricks and shit all the way around. But we did have a spot across the alley that was dirt. It was, about half the width of a car lane, maybe, and it went all the way down for like half a block almost, and it was dirt. That's where we would play marbles and tops and all that kind of stuff. But like I said, I'm not going to talk about marbles and tops. I'm going to talk about something else, because when you're a kid, you have a habit of doing mischievous stuff. At least I did. It's the place we lived at, because there's a city right in front of our house. People would like park their cars, and they would park them a little bit of an angle, not parallel and not straight in, but a little bit of an angle all the way down. And back then, the cars were made really good. It's not like cars today that are made out of plastic and real thin metal. They were really sturdy. And the reason I know they were sturdy, because these cars, as they were parked all the way down, half a block like that, me and my friends would have races on top of their hoods. We don't know whose cars they were, but we'd run from car to car to car to car all the way down. I'm sure if the owners caught us, they would not be happy, but, when you're a kid, you just stupid shit like that. Anyway, the little story I want to tell now actually is this. Sometimes you get bored, even with the marbles and all that stuff. Sometimes you get bored, and I noticed that building across the alley where the dirt's at, there was cars parked there. I noticed that around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, all these people would come up. And I think the place was a egg packing company. I think that's what it was. I'm not positive, but I think that's what it was. But anyway, about 4:30 or so, the people would get off work and they come down that portion with the dirt and shit, and and walk through the dirt to get to their cars and get in the cars and go wherever they're going, right? So one day I'm kind of bored and I decided, well, I know what I'm going to do. I got me a knife and I went where the dirt's at and I started digging holes. You know, dig a hole about this big, right, about this deep. And then you put sticks across it and a piece of newspaper and you sprinkle dirt on it. So basically I was making traps, booby traps. And I would do a whole bunch of them all the way down and then wait. And when people got off work, I would be sitting there looking at them and they'd be coming out. I feel sorry for them because I'm sure they were tired of working all day, and all of a sudden they step on one of these things and their foot would sink and they fall on their faces. And I'd be kind of high. I'd be there, but I'd be kind of high looking at them, cracking up and stuff. And these people get really upset because they knew some kid did that to them. But anyway, I did that for a few times, and it kind of got old. So I decided I was going to op it. So I waited for a while, you know, so they forget. And I started doing it again, except this time I decided I wanted to make it better. So I would dig the holes, and I would pour water in there, and then pour dirt and make a bunch of mud and cover it up. And then sprinkle the dirt on it, put the newspaper, sprinkle the dirt on it. And then I'd wait for those people to come out, and they step in it and fall down. Not only would they fall down, their shoes will be covered in mud. They have to get in their cars. I think now I must have been nuts, you know. But that's what you do when you're a little kid. You got nothing else to do. Anyway, I'm going to talk now about the military. This first part's over. I just hope they never find me. Some old guy will see this, come over and kick my butt. Talk to you in a minute. Okay, time for the second quarter. I'm going to talk about the military. I want to clarify something. When I say I'm going to talk about the military, some of the stories are going to be actually about the military, stuff that happened in the military, and other stories are going to be stuff that happened while I was in the military. You know, they're kind of tied together. So earlier I told a story before I joined the military. Now I'm going to tell you a story about when I was in the military. Earlier I talked about being in Utah. Not earlier now, but other episodes. Being in Utah, stationed in Utah. We had F4s, got F-16s, but we had a transition where when we went from F-4s to F-16, we had to get people trained on the F-16. So they were sending people to Edwards Air Force Base in California to learn how to work the airplanes. So when the airplanes showed up, we'd have somebody qualified. And I was one of the ones they sent down there. So I went from Utah to Edwards Air Force Base, which is in Southern California. And I looked it up. It's about 700 miles. 700 mile, and I've always been into bikes, and I had a hardtail at the time. If you don't know what a hardtail is, you're not a biker. Hardtails are the most preferred bike. Everybody loves those bikes. They're the best looking bike you can buy. Very few people ride them because they don't have any shocks. They don't have any shocks, and they beat the crap out of you. So people don't like to ride them, but they look beautiful. And as a kid, I fell in love with hardtails, so I was like, that's what I'm riding. I don't give a shit that, you know, it's going to beat me to death. You know, I don't care. In fact, right now, I have a compressed fracture in my neck with 4 bones that are crushed a little bit. And I think it's partly because of riding those bikes for so many years. I put over 100,000 miles on those suckers. In fact, from 97 to 99, I put 50,000 miles on a hardtail. So, you know, I ride the piss out of bikes. But anyway, back then, right, they told me I'm going to go to Edwards. So I had a hardtail. At the time, I had a 750 Honda hardtail. I would rather have had a Harley, but 750 Honda was really, really cool and a lot less expensive. And that's what I could afford, so that's what I bought. And the Honda 750 Had 4 cylinders in a row, had 4 pipes, I had drag pipes on it, and it was a badass sounding bike, and it ran like a top. I mean, Honda made a great bike. I mean, it's an awesome bike. So I rode that thing from Utah all the way to California, 700 miles in one day. I mean, it was nice, and I loved it too. I mean, it was, I know it's hard to explain what enjoyment it was just to ride down there the whole day. Just cruise and cruise and cruise. It was awesome, just awesome. You know, anyway, I got there, and Edwards Air Force Base was a weird base, because most bases, when you go to the base, right, outside the gate, there'll be stores and stuff and all kinds of things to do. And when you go inside the gate, there's also a bunch of stuff inside the gate, like when you check in and all this stuff and everything, you know. It's just a lot of stuff on all the bases, pretty much, except for Edwards. Edwards was unique, because Edwards was a training, not training, but a testing base, where they tested aircraft and different things. So the way the base was set up was they made buildings in pockets, like 2 or 3 blocks here, 2 or 3 blocks here, 2 or 3 blocks here. So everything was kind of spread out, because that way if the airplane went up there and it was going to crash, the pilot could aim and not hit people, you know. If they're going to crash, they could crash out in the open. And when you went out the gate, there was nothing there, because you got this test aircraft. I don't want people to see it. So it was a very unique base. So anyway, I was there for, I think maybe 4 weeks or so, something like that. And I would work, and then I would go ride around the area, you know. And when you left the gate, you would go about 20 miles before you hit a town, because that's how everything was pushed away. Everything was just pushed away from the base. So you'd go about 20 miles probably before you hit a town. And I was riding one day, so I go out the gate, and I'm going down this road, and I look up ahead, and this, I mean, you're talking in the middle of nowhere. I look, and I see this long-haired thing in shorts way out there, thinking there's a girl out in the middle of nowhere, and I'm thinking, what the hell, you know? I said, okay. So I said, I'm going to stop and give her a ride. So as I get close to her, I look, and she's got a beard. So I'm like, shit, it's the dude. I said, I don't give a shit. So I pulled over, and it's this hippie guy, right? And I asked him if he wants to ride. He says, yeah, okay, it's cool. So jumps in the back of the bike, and I didn't ask, but it probably had back in the day they had a lot of hippie communes and shit, so they probably might have had one off to the side there in the desert. So I take off, and he's sitting in the back of the bike, and I'm cruising down the road. And if you're familiar with hardtails, like the gas tank is here, and then it goes down deep, and then you sit down here, and the fender goes up like that, and the passenger sits up here. So when they're sitting up there and you're sitting down here, like their knees are like right here, you know, with the foot pegs, because they're sitting up higher than you are. So I'm cruising. I got these ape hangers, and I'm cruising, and he's sitting there. And I get behind this semi, so I decide I'm going to pass this semi. And this is a 2-lane road, no shoulders. Like I said, we're nowhere. It's 2 lanes, no shoulders. So I pull out and pass this semi. When I pull out and start to go, I look, and there's a bus coming, right? And I can tell there's no way I can make it. There's no way I can make it. So I start to ease off the throttle. And then when you're young, you're really stupid. You take stupid chances. And I was young at the time. So I decided, you know, screw it, I'm going. So I just gave it the gas. And so I kept on passing this semi, and at the same time this bus shows up, and it went like this with me in the middle, because I was going down the center stripe, right in center stripe, and they just went, and I was like, whoa, because you could have gone like this with your hands, and you could have touched both of them. That's how close the thing was. And anyway, I pop out, and I pass this semi, And I'm still cruising, and I look down, happen to look down, and I see this hippie's knees, and they're doing this shit. I'm like, oh, I guess I scared the shit out of that hippie, you know? So that's what I'm thinking. So I keep cruising, and the town was like 10 miles away. So I just as soon as I get to the town, the hippie's going, pull over, dude, pull over, dude. I'm like, what? It says, pull over, dude, pull over, dude. So I pull over. Before I even stop the bike, this guy jumps off the bike. And I'm like, hey, you all right, dude? He goes, yeah, I'm all right, I'm all right. And I go, where are you going? Is this where you're going? I mean, I'll take you wherever you're going. He says, no, man, I'll walk. I'll walk. And I still remember even doing that I'll walk. I'll walk. And I said, no, dude, I'm serious. I'll take you. He said, no, I'll walk, okay? I'll walk. I said, okay. So I took off. I think back now, I was like, if that guy's still alive, you know, because he's probably sitting back there stoned or drugged or something, I bet. I bet money he was. And the shit I just put him through, he had a heart attack. I know if he's alive, he's telling this story to somebody. But he should be happy he's alive. I'm alive too, so I'm happy. Okay, that's it for second quarter. I'll stop now and we're going to the third quarter, talk about life and death. Have a good one. Okay, time for third quarter. This is my fifth episode, and third quarter I always talk about death and life as to what you want to do after you're dead. In case you can't come up with ideas, I'll give a couple of them for you. Another possible thing you could do, before I talked about going back where you made choices, and if you didn't make a different choice, your whole world would have been different. I talked about that. But I'm going to talk about some kind of like that. It's better known as the butterfly effect, because that's sort of like a butterfly effect, but that's a monster-sized butterfly effect. But there are other butterfly effects that happen throughout your life, possibly, you know. For example, you know, there's things you did that caused other things to happen. And if you hadn't done that little thing, maybe these other things wouldn't have happened. I guess the best way to explain it maybe is to give you an example. I was going by a McDonald's one time, and I was going by the McDonald's, and it's here in Odessa on A Street. They had a sign outside that said cheeseburgers 50 cents, and I was like, well, that's pretty cheap. So I said, I'm gonna give me a couple, you know. So I went up there, I ordered 3 hamburgers. Went to pay for them, and when I got the bill was like $4, something like that. And I was like, wait, what's going on here, you know? And I asked the girl, I said, I thought that they were 50 cents. And she says, the cheeseburgers are 50 cents. You ordered hamburgers. And I'm like, what? Well, just put cheese on them then and give them to me for 50 cents. I don't care. And I couldn't believe they actually did that they would charge people a regular price for a hamburger, but 50 cents if they put cheese on it. It just seems so stupid. But anyway, what I'm thinking about is on this particular incident, you know, suppose they didn't know. She was new or something, and after that, they started charging 50 cents for hamburgers too, so that whoever came after me wouldn't go through the same stuff I did, right? So let's suppose that instead of me complaining to begin with, if I had just got the hamburgers and paid the $4.50, because it really wasn't a lot of money, you know, it's only about $1.50 or so. So, but you know, to me, it was more like the principle of the thing. So let's say I didn't say anything, right? Let's say I didn't say anything, then the person comes after me, gets screwed the same way, and then this person maybe leaves. And halfway down the road, they decide that, hey, they got screwed, and they decide to come back. And on the way to coming back, they get T-boned and get killed, you know. So, little instances like that, I think, happen throughout your life. And you're never aware of it. You know, it could also go the other way. It could also go, you did something small, it doesn't seem important to you, but because you did this small things, huge things happened, and they were for the good. It could happen either way. So what I'm proposing really is that, when you drop dead stuff, you could go back to your life, and like as before, when you would say, I want to see an incident light up yellow or red if I hadn't done this particular thing, and then, or the other way, if you'd have done this particular thing, because sometimes you think you should do something, you don't do it, and then you press on, and possibly maybe some of those choices might have done the same thing. But I'm thinking about, you could just spend your life again and see all the little spots and change them and see what happens. It's just an idea. I'm going to go to the fourth quarter now, which is where I tell a joke, since this is a little depressing maybe. Well, a little fun maybe, but not hilarious. I'll pick up a joke for you. No. Okay, time for the fourth quarter, time to tell you a joke. This joke's going to be one of my stupid jokes. Like I said, I like stupid jokes. Anyways, two guys meet in a bar. And one guy's named Marty, the other one's named Marty. And they're both business people in this hotel bar. They're drinking and drinking and drinking. They hit it off really good. And then Artie asked Marty what he does for a living. The guy says he's an insurance salesman and he does a lot of traveling and stuff. He makes pretty good money. The guy says, okay. So then Marty asks Artie, what do you do? And Artie says, well, I'd like to tell you, but I really can't. I really can't. And Marty's like, well, okay. So it's up to you. So they keep drinking and they become better friends. And Marty asks Artie again, says, really, come on, tell me, what do you do? And Artie kind of goes, well, I shouldn't really tell you this, but I'm going to tell you. Says, I kill people for a living. I'm an assassin. And Marty goes, holy shit, are you really? He says, yeah, that's what I do. And Marty goes, wow, I hate my wife. How much would it cost to kill her? And Marty's like, really? He says, we're good friends. I charge you $1. I do her for $1. Marty's like, whoa, yeah? Wow. I said, how are you going to do this? And Artie says, well, tell me what she does, what kind of routine she does. And he says, well, among some things, she always goes to the grocery store really early on Wednesday. I don't know why. She's usually out of the store by 7. She says doesn't like to be there when there's a lot of people there. And he says, okay, that'll work. He says, look, give me her picture. I'll go find her. So a couple of days go by. Wednesday shows up. Artie's down there waiting for this guy's wife, and he had to ask him how she wanted to kill her, and she said, any way you want, doesn't matter. So he decided, okay, something quiet, I'll just choke her to death. So he sees her come out of the store, and she's getting in the car. Artie runs over there, grabs her, starts choking her, just choking her. And she's like, and as he's choking her, this kid walks out to the car and sees him, so just as he kills her, he runs over and he's got to choke him too, got to kill him too, starts killing him, right? And while he's doing him, this lady pulls up in the car, so he's like, oh shit, another one. So he breaks his neck, chokes him, runs over, starts choking that woman just as she dies. So cops show up because other people saw this, and boom, they catch you. And everything's going crazy there at the time, and the store manager of the grocery store runs out and finds out what the hell happened. He says, man, I don't believe it happened in front of my store. And he goes, I know, I'll put it outside, the thing that happened here. And a lot of people would come in here just to talk. So he goes inside, makes up this big old sign that says, Artie chokes 4 for $1. Or I should say 3 for $1. That's too good of a sale. Stupid joke, I know. Time to call the fourth quarter over. Have a good one. Okay, time for a little bit of overtime. What I want to talk about now is the pictures I got back there. As to why I got them, how I get them on there. When I decided to do this, I wanted to have a background behind me, something nice, I've thought about maybe getting some plants or put them next to me, and I don't know, something nice. Then one day I was messing with the computer, because I got my computer hooked up to the big TV set, so we can watch like Netflix and stuff like that. Anyway, I like collecting pictures, and what I did on my computer was I set the background so the pictures would change every few minutes, and I just like that. Some a little bit weird about me. I don't know why, but I like to have the different pictures show up. So anyway, one time I was on the computer and I saw them do that, and I went, wait a minute. I got a lot of pictures. I could just sit in front of the TV set, and as I'm talking, they could be changing, right? And so I had some pictures, so then I started looking for some more pictures. Started doing stuff like, okay, I like rainbows. I got rainbow pictures. I like scenic pictures with waterfalls and tropicals and wooded, and I like all kinds of stuff. And strange pictures too. Like while I was looking for pictures, I ran across this artist had painted this picture on the ground on cement, and it makes it look like it's like a cavern or something, like a hole. And I liked it, and I Googled it for that type, and there's a whole bunch of them. I guess it's kind of a popular thing to do. So I got a bunch of those. And I also thought about it, and I said, basically what I'm putting back here is kind of part of me, because I'm trying to pass on who I am. And that's part of me back there. So I said, okay, there's going to be part of me back there. Find the pictures I like, and just put them back there. And like right now, I've got it flipping at 1 every 10 seconds. Normally, I have them set for every minute or 3 minutes, But right now, I just got them so they're just going through a whole bunch of them pretty quick, so you can kind of idea kind of stuff I like. So anyway, I've got like over 1,000 pictures in there, like I was talking about. One time I saw an article about National Geographic Picture of the Year, and I said, oh, that's a good idea. So I figured they'd have a bunch of them, so I went there and they did have a ton of great pictures there. So I got a bunch of those. Like I said, I got the monsters from when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I liked all Frankenstein, Werewolf, all these guys. So I went and got a bunch of those. Godzilla, King Kong, of course. Can't have the monsters like Godzilla, King Kong. So, like I said, I collected over 1,000. Now, I also said it's kind of part of me. Another thing I did, when I did the very first one, I didn't have any music in the background. I don't know if you noticed or not, but now I got some music in the background. I put a little bit louder right now. And what's in the background is I've got most of the music that I like. Like I got the greatest hits, a lot of the bands I like CCR and Seals and Crofts and Led Zeppelin and a whole bunch of rock and roll bands, Steppenwolf, all kinds of stuff like. And I also have like four or five discs that's like the hits from the 60s, 70s, and 80s in there too. So most of the songs you'll hear are songs I like. Not 100%, because anytime I buy an album, like even if it's greatest hits, it'll have be one, maybe two you don't care for. Unless you really like the band, like say Led Zeppelin. I like all their music. Steppenwolf, I like all their music. But there's very few bands that I can say that with. Like CCR is another one. But anyway, bottom line is that this is another part of me. So as you're listening to the music as I'm talking, if you can hear it, say, if it's a good song, I like it. If you don't like the song, I don't like it either. Covering all bases. But this is it for now. This concludes my 5th episode. We'll talk to you guys later. Love y'all.